So Jay's feeling a bit awkward today because obviously we're first time on camera. No, second time on camera.
Yeah.
Because we did record one episode with White Basement Pod. But we've come here to the Pod Collective today.
Yep.
To have a chat with Jack.
Yes. So we should introduce again.
So welcome to Better Than Average Podcast. Oh, I got it wrong.
Did you?
Let me try again.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 117 of Better Than Average Podcast with me, Chris.
Majay.
Jack.
So we've been talking about filming the podcast for a while, and you know, every week I see Jack at the other Jack's Tuesday Jiu Jitsu session, and then all of a sudden, the sort of conversation came up that you had your own podcasting studio, which was obviously wild, and it just shows how little conversation you really have with the people at Jiu Jitsu, other than like that surface level.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought this was a nice opportunity to like get to know you a little better, and also have a look at your like facility. I would say, which is very impressive.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, literally. Yeah, you keep. I don't want to interrupt you.
We asked you a question, mate.
Yeah,
it's good. It's nice here. We're in the middle of a field.
yes,
I like that.
In a shipping container, you've converted, right?
correct. Yes. So it's like definitely with because we're currently in the process of opening up another studio in Oxford and hopefully Northampton, and they're in obviously in cities. And we're only literally for Milton Keynes. We're literally about 6-7 minutes away. But like where it is, it's in a lovely location. But then footfall wise, it's not in the best location. So we're currently going through teething periods of that, just trying to make things a bit more accessible for people. Because we also have it's called the Pod Box. We also have pop-up pods, which is our mobile studios, which you bring to businesses, to events, and to co-working spaces. Because like end of the day, everyone's really busy, and you try and be as accessible as possible for people. For example, like a lot of co-worker spaces, like we're running Spaces, and Vulcan Works. We do work for 1 day a month. We go down to their place and we just film for the day for their clients and stuff. Even though them locations is under 10 minutes from here, they feel more accessible if we can go to them and just set everything up. So try and be accessible as possible, really.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
That's
sense.
cool. So how did you get into that? Because obviously podcasting is kind of a niche thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Now it is. Yeah, we're definitely podcasting is really it's massive enough for marketing and definitely for businesses and to expand your brand and your authority. So it's getting into this space because what happened really, I used to go down to, I've been making content for like 15 years. And then me and my colleague, we used to go down to London to this co-spaces, to this studios there. And literally, it took about 2.5 hours to get there. Bloody dear. And I was thinking, I'd rather just make it more accessible and create something which I would use. That's when I thought of the idea. Like my colleague Hugo, he's like the ideas man. But then I hear an idea and I like putting it into function. Literally said about he said the idea, the pod box. We call it the pod collective. So I'll call it the pod box. I was like, that's sound. I chatted to my dad. We're like, what can we get? What can we use to convert? And my dad said, this is your container. And then because we started all of this about 4 months ago. So from 4 months thinking of the idea, about 4 months to thinking about hiring and making it. So that's literally, in that one night we already thought of the name, the container, where we're buying it from, got our initial quotas there as well. And that literally the next day, rang them up, got a meeting down in Manchester, and then drove down there, had a look at the container and look at the spec of it, because this came completely emptied, because you can make it into like a kitchen. They do varieties of stuff with it. I thought we don't want it completely gutted out. So then literally that was during the Christmas time, so obviously it was quite difficult with, things are shut. So literally it took about 3.5 weeks to arrive, but then it took us about 3 weeks to build into the actual studios and stuff. So it's from conception, we've got to get things going quite quick. Especially when I get like an idea or I like something, I'm a bit obsessive. Yeah. So I like it. I found it with my training and stuff going through the years. If I like something, I go straight away kind of thing, which is a good thing, but then a bit not the best when. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean. I think most people that train jiu-jitsu, they've got a little bit of that in them, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think you have to be a little obsessive to like train jiu-jitsu?
Because it's the investment. It takes so long to do.
Just takes forever.
Yeah. I mean, Jack knows you're in, right, for a few years. Haven't bought your own gi yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you not have your own gi?
I was gonna, I got to
So it
fight
took
it.
you-
I actually haven't.
It took you 4 months to change a idea into a full sort of podcasting studio, but you haven't managed to get a gi.
So, no, yeah, I haven't. Yeah.
What was hilarious is, so what's happened to your gi, man? He has had this hole in it. And he goes, I can't find my one, or the one I borrow.
Yeah,
I borrowed someone else's.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that just gets ripped and ripped. I think it's what it's. I find like, I like doing new stuff. I like to put a lot of stuff. It sounds like I'm quite proactive, but I'm a little bit lazy. Anyway, I know like it had a rip in it, and I thought, oh, that will easily get ripped. So what do? I continue to fucking wear it. Can I swear on this? I've accidentally.
Yeah.
100%.
So I just kept wearing it and just getting ripped, and then in the day I was basically naked. I thought I need to find something else. And you said about because I was trying to find my other gi that I borrowed, and it was just it wasn't around the back. Well, it was actually just on the.
It was right on the entrance.
Yeah, it's entrance. I just ignored it.
Because what size ski do you wear?
Like
Like an A2?
yeah, yeah.
A2. I can look at someone and roughly tell the gi size.
That's a good one.
Judge people by their gi size.
Yeah, so an A2 gi, A3 is the most common, right? So if you want to loan a gi, you're more likely to be able to find an A3.
Is
right?
it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you?
I'm an A4.
I'm an A1L.
A1L.
Yeah. But it took me about 4 years to learn that.
There's at least one gi that Jay has where his legs and ankles are sticking out. It's like really short.
Severe ankle bashes. That is.
Yeah. That's my A1. That's my pure A1.
So how did you get into jiu-jitsu, Jack? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think it was really because I wanted to do jiu-jitsu for years. Because I started off with doing Thai and kickboxing, and then I went into boxing, and then I was like, I always wanted to. Some things aren't really accessible. Like I find, especially with your new school, which is great, and obviously Jack starting and Toaster, like jiu-jitsu in my kind of thing, it was very unknown in the way of everyone does. When you get most places, they'll whack a boxing gym, or they do some community boxing. Or they might do kickboxing, was the most exotic thing they would do. So having jiu-jitsu down in Toaster or everything else, I never ever heard of it. So that's why one of the reasons why I wasn't the most accessible. But then since I kind of, because I like to make a thing, I said before, like, I like about experiences, isn't it? I thought I wanted to definitely try something new and expand my horizons and stuff. So literally I researched, again, I thought the idea properly, researched the school, which was on I go to, and then actually I saw the time frames, it was tomorrow, so I went straight away. So that's how I kind of started it, really. I just think because for me, I combat sports is like it's a big avenue for me in my personality now, because I know I'm a nice guy now. I'm still a little bit too nice, but I control the too nice, if that makes sense. Literally, give it a couple of years ago, I was a completely different person. I was like, essentially, I was scared of everyone. I apologize now, like of being like, I apologize if I do something wrong. Before I said that my habit was just saying sorry. I think essentially what it was just like that kind of constantness of like being terrified of like not being able to be attracted to someone. Like if we're talking, if I don't apologise, I don't. It looks like I'm being rude. Then you're not going to like me. If I don't like me, then I'm going to feel alone. And that was my coping mechanism. It wasn't until I started combat sports, started getting fucking battered all the time, you realise the capabilities of what I can do. Then when you start getting better, it's been like my evolution of how I am now. Because I find sometimes now, if I haven't been able to, like when I hurt my ear, I couldn't do MMA for a while. That's why I'd up in the jiu-jitsu, or before, if I couldn't do something for a while, I felt like you can see yourself start creeping back into your old habits because I wasn't doing it, and because I thought I'm not as strong as I could be. I feel a bit vulnerable, so that's why I kind of have to. For me now, it's a bit like I really enjoy it, but I kind of feel like I have to do it to maintain myself. If that makes sense.
Do you feel it's become ingrained into who you are now?
Oh, definitely.
It's definitely part of your personality. I think it's part of all of our personalities now, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't imagine not training.
Yeah.
Right. I've gone through periods where work's been busy, family life has been busy, and I've trained very sporadically, but I've never like stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I've always like kept the membership going, even if I'm like going once every couple of weeks for a while. And I can't imagine being like, no, I just don't train anymore.
Because I thought, you watch Joe Rogan podcast?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
One of the things he said, which I thought was actually, I say it to some people, and you guys understand the crack, but there's some things that we think about, which is like, it's worrying how some people thought processes are completely different. But to me, he said, one of the guests said to him was, if you went into, well, you guys are big geezers, but especially me, I'm not very
Wish I was a big geezer.
but like, it's like, if you went into, let's say you knew nothing at all. I don't know if this is a conference thing, but nothing at all. If you went into a room full of blokes who you don't know, to me, if I don't know what I'm doing, I feel pretty fucking vulnerable. I'll be like, God, he could batter me. And if you know nothing, you go in somewhere. But if you go in somewhere knowing what you know, like now, I think like I'm a nice guy. Yeah, when I go out, I get started on a lot for some reason.
Really?
I don't literally. I'm like smiling. I normally laugh with them. I'm smiling. They're trying to get in my face and stuff, and I'm just laughing with them. But I find before, when I first did start going out and stuff, I didn't know anything. So it's kind of like I was going around all nervy. And now because you train for a while and you know that you could like, you could batter.
You can look after yourself.
You can look after yourself. You go in somewhere really confidently because you know, like for example, okay, good example. I know, let's going out, we see someone who thinks they're really hard. I know
They're not.
you've killed me in 10 seconds and you could batter them and vice versa with you with our training. So I'm like, why the hell am I scared of you when I've been, do you know what I mean? You've battered me in instant. So that's when it really puts things into perspective.
Yeah, I think, and I know not everyone feels that, but I guess a lot of guys do, don't they? They size up a room.
See, yeah, I know that's not an everyone's thing, but
Size
there are
up
a lot of people who. I think it's probably it's an insecurity kind of like ego thing from me. I'm not a very ego person, but I know I am a bit like that in the essence of like, not everyone goes somewhere being like, oh, I could like that, but I do. Not so I don't.
I think a lot of guys do, man.
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's common, mate. I really do. Size up the school run. Size up the dads on the school run.
Yeah, you said about this one.
There's no threat there.
You should see Jay. So our kids go to the same school, right? And he used to come in muscle vest, right? Tattoos, obviously, sunglasses on, never wearing any sun cream. Harachi sandals,
Harachi
right?
sandals, yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't know, I didn't know about sandals until I started doing the podcast with Jay. But now I know Harachis are a running sandal, right?
That's all right.
I was actually running sandal.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
So if I bite off more than I can chew, I can run away.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea.
But you are definitely right. Like, I don't worry about if it's late at night, I'll walk to the shop. Do you know what I mean? And I know people that they don't do stuff like that. They don't put themselves in any position of like potential danger, which I think is a really difficult way to live life, isn't it?
Though Chris is different from us, so we're about the same weight and size. Chris is bigger than us.
Yeah.
Chris visually is just aesthetically is more of an intimidating factor. So we understand what heavyweights are like and what they can do to us, but a lot of people don't, but they should. I think a lot of people, you probably don't get much trouble because you are bigger than most people.
I think you'd be surprised because I think sometimes, when someone's had a few drinks, right? They have this like big tree fall hard mentality that like kicks in for some people. And it's like, they don't want to, like, I've had it before where I'm like, I do not know why this guy is like, where his problem has come from, because I'm a very agreeable person. I worked in hospitality for years. I'm used to being very nice to people, and I'm definitely not a combative drunk. But I've had it before where you have someone and you're like, this guy's like, a good 40 kilos lighter than me, and he won't let it go, right? And I've seen people's friends like try and calm people down, and I think it's just that they do. I think it is that ego kicks in. And they're like, I have to show that I'm not intimidated by this person who's much physically bigger. But the reality is the physical weight and size makes a difference, doesn't it? Like, there is no real way to compensate for that if you're both trained at the same level, is there?
Oh, yeah.
And so many people are untrained. That's the problem.
Oh, the amount of people who you don't know. That's why I find. I know, again, this thing when you know what you're doing, you don't need to be. You don't need to test yourself on someone. But the amount of people who like, because I film a lot. I film loads of combat sports and stuff. And obviously, not talking about the fighters, but the fans who these places, they just think they're getting so. The last 4 events I've been to has been 3 massive fights.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I bring my dad comes along to the shoots. He's one of the camera operators as well. We're filming this show up north, and it's a massive fight, and my dad nearly got hit with a chair.
Oh God.
Yeah, someone got hit in the face with a bottle. A massive fight.
Are the people kicking off? Are they not trained?
They're not trained.
Are they just fans?
That's what I mean. They're just fans. But you can tell they're not trained because they're like, it's like, go on, go on. No one pushes their face forward. That's really strange in the camera, but no one pushes their face forward. Like, if you're coming up close, I'm not going to be like, if I know you can fight, I'm not going to be like, why would I give you my chin? And they're doing this really, and I don't understand. People who don't know what they're doing are so gagging to get them to a fight.
Something's proved.
Do you think they don't know though that, because I think the other thing that happens, like when you, especially jiu-jitsu, like when you walk in and you have that first session and you get humbled, like, you know, I've said it before on the podcast, but you know, when I first started, I played rugby, I was pretty fit, pretty strong, you know, and I got like, this kid that I just could not control. Like I could not control this kid at all. You sort of realize, like, I don't know how capable some of these people are. So in a lot of ways, I am also more respectful of people now because it's like, I don't know.
Who could it be?
You know?
Could be a Mike Musumeci looking guy.
It's like,
God,
this
who's
geeky guy might rip my leg off.
See, my favourite story, did you ever meet James Anderson?
No, I didn't.
No, so he is like one of the nicest guys ever. Off the mats. But he's he's demeanor. He's very kind of like you actually, you know, very polite, very nice, very approachable. It's like, hello. In his, I don't want to do his West Country accent.
Come on, you've got to do the accent, Jay.
How you doing? You're right. I'm James. I'm James.
Very softly spoken.
Yeah. And Tommy, you met Tommy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Tommy first met James. And, you know, Tommy's like, "Well, bruv." Go like James, like, "Yo, how you doing? I'm James." And Tommy's thought was, "Who the fuck's this dweeb?" And then he said, "James just ruined me on the mat." Which is great. That's perfect, isn't it? It's just a great example of, well, you don't know, do you?
It's a good leveler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and I think jiu-jitsu it's different from wrestling because of the nature of it. It's like quite well designed for like a small person to be good as well. Like ultimately it, you know, if you're working from the guard position, that weight obviously still is a big factor. If your opponent knows what they're doing, but it's less of a factor than if you were boxing, right? You know, you can spar with people at different levels because you're mitigating the weight a bit when you're ground fighting, right?
I find definitely because jiu-jitsu's a really good, like for example, I find with combat sports and stuff, the variety of sports, they change in levels. So I find, like in all honesty, I'm sure there's obviously examples, like a white belt or someone who's untrained will never be able to tap a black belt, a brown belt, or a purple belt, I don't think. Or probably not a blue belt.
I don't know, man. Your dastards are getting tight, man.
But yeah, it's like, but then like in boxing, I was like, you could train people who do nothing, and like they're already they're like street fighters, and they can still like
get clocked.
Yeah, because you got punch chance, and like like I've been boxing for quite a few years and stuff. But if someone, you got a big geezer and he just like grabs you and pushes you and then hits you, you can. But that's what I mean. Like the levels of disparity, you can't really get through. Like you got a black belt, no one trained's not going to tap a black belt kind of thing. Where in a boxing, if someone's big and they just hit you when you're not looking, you can rock you and stuff. So that's why it's a good example. That's why you don't get boxers who are really trained traveling over to MMA, but you get MMA traveling over to boxing. It's because there's, and like with jiu-jitsu and stuff, there's so many levels to it. You get people who've just been training in like boxing. You could get someone training in a couple of weeks, and sometimes if they're pretty. I know some keep jumping for stories and stuff. I appreciate it. But I went up north to do some filming for some client, and a lad came in, and he'd never boxed in his life, and he must have trained for like a week or so, and he came up and he was sparring and stuff, and the kid was fucking sharp, but because he's around it all the time. He was a gypsy. He doesn't actually fight because the coach, I know, says he doesn't fight and stuff. But that's what I mean. But you can. But in jiu-jitsu, you're not really going to turn up and be like, you can't just spy and just batter you. It doesn't really happen.
Yeah. When
in boxing, you kind of can't. If you're an athletic, and it depends how quickly you learn and what you see and how you process things. Where in jiu-jitsu, it's just.
Well, there's such thing as a lucky punch, isn't there? That does exist in just striking, but there's no such thing as a lucky sweep.
Oh, yeah.
or a lucky submission. I was like, fuck, I accidentally triangled him.
Yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
I definitely have
How did
never
that fall into
seen it.
place?
I can't think of an example where I've seen that happen.
There's no luck involved in it. Like you're either very physical and you can get quite far in it, or you're skilled, and that's really it. You remember Bradley that came in?
Yeah, Bradley was a rugby player, but he was also a carpenter.
Yeah.
He used to work with like oak doors and frames and stuff. So he was handling like big heavy bits of wood all the time. And I have to say, I reckon he is the strongest person I've ever had to spar with.
Oh my God, me too. And
Really strong, like huge, just functional strength. Like,
Yeah.
you know the difference when you meet someone who's like strong in the gym, but like, you know, they can't control that strength in the sort of, they can't control their balance in the right way in jiu-jitsu to like really like assert that strength.
Yeah.
Whereas he was like fucking
it's a nightmare,
felt
mate.
solid everywhere.
I remember when I put a Kimura on him and he just went, no. He just took it out. He was just so strong.
Yeah.
He was so strong. So you have to be that kind of level of strength. You can get strong people come in. There are some strong guys at the gym now. With take Matt. You've rolled with Matt
Yeah.
Laws. Yeah, he's a landscape gardener. So he's just weathered to fuck, isn't he? You know, weathered face, weathered body, weathered hands. But he's been lifting stuff his whole life. So he's so strong with stuff. But still not like that level of Bradley. He was
He was very strong.
such an exception of strength. So yeah, you either are physical or you got the skill. And that's how you have to win in grappling, isn't it? And you said there's no lucky submissions, no lucky sweeps, no lucky whatever.
You might be right about that. Yeah.
I can actually get like a lucky, like, well, I'm going to say like a guillotine. I don't think, I've seen people before, they just grab. They just
Squeeze.
Grab. Yeah, but I don't think, but like the forehand, it's not, I don't think it's the right stuff. But yeah, that's, I mean, nothing.
Makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You think,
I think it's uncomfortable, but then I think because if you aren't trained, I find I just signed my dad up to Jiu Jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Have you? That's cool.
He goes to Jack's class.
in toaster, perfect,
Yeah.
lovely.
And I find, I went to the first, because on a Thursday, I do salsa on a Thursday, so I can't always go to the class. But I went to the first class with my dad. I was letting him work and stuff. I'm only putting things in really lightly. He's tapping straight away. So I'm telling him, like, stop tapping to like uncomfortableness. So I appreciate you've got your forearm in someone's face. It's not the nicest, but and because if you aren't trained, you don't know what it's just. I know there's some things you could do where when you push a chin, that doesn't feel nice at all.
Yeah.
But like it's not gonna kill you.
Break or hurt.
Yeah, so it's just tank it a bit. But then my dad and stuff, or people who haven't trained, if you whack that on, they'll because it's this thing. It's like it's gonna break your jaw. So yeah, depending on. I think uncomfortableness just seem to tap as well.
That's where the ego is helpful. Like when people say like leave the ego at the door, I'm like, nah, you can't leave the ego at the door because you need the ego for otherwise you're gonna tap to pressure, you're gonna tap to like, as you say, being uncomfortable. Like you need a bit, but you need to be humble as well.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand, like I've been submitted by low belts loads of times. And the reality is the submissions work. If you let someone get a submission on, or if they're quick enough to snap a submission on, they'll catch you.
It's fair, isn't it?
The technique works. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. But you do have to set those submissions up. Like when you've trained with someone a long time, being quick enough to like catch a lucky submission, that's tough, right? Because I've probably said to you, but I say it to white belts all the time. It's like, I'll say to them, "Oh, good roll," and they'll be like, "Yeah, but you were all over me." It's like, yeah, it's because I'm just a little quicker. Right? You're doing the right stuff, but like I'm reacting more quickly and I'm shutting stuff down. What you're doing is good, but you're like getting countered, right? And I think that's definitely a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got to have that grit to like sustain jiu-jitsu in the long term because you're going to be the nail for a long time. Right?
Yeah, I just think a lot of stuff like with like in life I find is like no one wants to be shit at anything.
Yeah.
And I find like, well, I think that's so important. That's one of the things I said to my dad with jiu-jitsu and stuff. I said because, my dad, he turns 63.
It's cool that he's going to jiu-jitsu at 63.
That's why I thought,
like signing up.
And I said to him, and a lot of people told me, I said, why are you signing down up for that? I thought he was going to get hurt. And it's just irritating, like some of the old boys who said, started laughing. And I got myself quite annoyed because I think what it was is like I had a lot of people tell me that I did something wrong, so it already kind of annoyed me. And when people started laughing at it, I was like, "Don't worry, Dad." It was like because someone we know, I won't say her name. Someone laughed about it. I said, "Don't worry, Dad. You're getting with a fucking dance in about a month or two." Do you know what I mean? And they won't be fucking laughing then.
Is that a toaster?
Pardon?
Is that a toaster, obviously?
That was around here.
I was around
actually.
here. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay.
So
How funny.
it doesn't matter.
Where are they?
Pardon?
Should we get them in?
So I'll get them to come on Jack's Thursday class. But yes, I mean, and people don't want to. I just don't want to. But it's really strange. Like with this kind of stuff, they just think people want to take the piss or laugh because they know that they can't do it, and they know that they're gonna they think they're gonna look like a knob, and it scares them off. No. Okay, I say this all the time. What's the hardest belt to get? Do you think?
For sure, going to your first jiu-jitsu class.
Ah, you bastard!
It's
It's
the
a white
worst
belt
one,
because you have to
right?
start.
Yeah.
Everyone, I get it all the time. Yeah, it's what's hard to get. It's white belt because you have to start, and that's what I mean.
And most people don't.
And then we put down. Yeah.
Right.
The reality is, if you train long enough, you're going to get your black belt, right? If you consistently train long enough, for some people, that'll be, you know what, you see people 8 years, right?
Some people won't.
For some people, it'll be way longer. Like you're thinking of some examples of some dodgy,
Just saying, I
dodgy
think
black belts.
some people won't.
But you, you know, eventually you're going to get it because you're going to get enough mat time in, but that might take a long time. But having the courage, I think, to go and do a sport like jiu-jitsu that is so abnormal, like that is
Yeah,
tough.
because when we say, oh, the percentage of people that make blue, purple, brown, or black is still not comparable to the percentage that never start, right? And that's the reality because it is hard. I put off for years, years and years and years, and I was like, oh, you know what? I've got nothing to do now.
And the thing is, a lot of people's mates are not supportive, are they? Like the reality is, the guy culture is you take the piss out of people, right? And that's, you know, to some extent, that's how we show love, right?
Yeah.
You take the piss out of people, but it also like it knocks your confidence sometimes. Like I've had it before where I've got 3 brothers, and then you'll think, oh, you know, I'm a bit worried that I've like taken the wind out of their sails a bit, and you don't mean to, but that's what happens. So like for your dad, his mates that he sees down the pub, they're gonna take the piss, right? You know, he's rolling around in his pajamas doing jiu-jitsu because it's just not the male way to turn around and be like, yeah, that takes a lot of courage.
No, literally, because when that's what I kind of had a moan at my dad at the time because when someone said about laughed at him for it, he backtracked then,
Yes.
and that's when I got annoyed with him to try and reiterate to him about like, as I'm adult people say, because I used to be very much kind of like that, like when because I've been doing salsa now for like a couple of years. When I first started it, people would try and take the piss, and I'd be like, well, I wouldn't talk about it, or I wouldn't say anything. Now I'm like, to be fair, if people take the piss out of me, I just think, well, you look like a twat when you dance because you can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love dancing, so that's what I mean. I think it's like getting used to taking it in your stride, and there is one you know the capabilities of people and why they're doing stuff. Like normally, if it's your close mates and they're having a joke, it's because they care about you. But when people are trying to be nasty about it, you know it's because you can't do it, and you're just that the best way to reassure it to yourself is, oh, I don't want to do it anyway. I think it's shit. That's why I'm gonna take the piss. Not like, oh, actually he's better than me. That I can't do that. So instead of me feeling like inferior, I'm gonna try and take the piss to justify it to myself. So that's kind of why it's. But again, if you're just starting something new and you haven't had to do that much, because no one takes the piss out of being a carpenter or you're an electrician, and like no one. Do you know what I mean? So some people don't go their whole life without any adversity. Is that the word? Adversity with starting something new because no one's had to take the piss, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to develop that thick skin, haven't you?
Oh,
It's an
definitely.
interesting thing about the older people starting jiu-jitsu as well, isn't it? Because it's become more like we meet a lot of people that are in their 40s that start. You know, if I said like the most common people to start jiu-jitsu, it's a little older than you think, right? Because I started in my like mid-20s, but a lot of the guys in the club will start in their late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think at that sort of age, you're a bit more self-assured. And you're also probably a bit more aware that you need something.
You're
Like-
looking for something else now, aren't you? You've done a lot of life. You had your kids. Your work's probably fine.
It's something for you, right?
Marriage is
you
shit.
personally.
Maybe. You've had that second kid and think, fuck.
You know, it reminded me when we started recording and you had some technical difficulties, it reminded me of not our first time, but the second time we recorded. I don't know if I ever told you about this, but it was like a classic podcasting fail. Because the first time we recorded, we had no intention of sending it out. So we just like had a conversation, recorded it, no issues. 40 minutes, solid
This is
content.
well easy.
And we were like, podcasting is so easy. Completed it. Next session we recorded, got to the end of our 40 minutes, didn't record anything. Literally
Oh, the
did not
dramas.
record a single word.
See, like, the amount of times it's like I do content for years. It's still things just happening. So I get like a real paranoia for me when we normally, because for the Gravcast or other podcast, we do it always in the other room.
Yeah.
It's more like a interview room, is called, and I'm always checking and stuff. And the amount of times that I've filmed or I film other people and like things just stop or you don't see. And then you finish and you're like, and they're like, how'd it go? It was great. And I was like, I texted them, it's great, check. And I was like, I didn't fucking film.
Oh no.
I'm like, hey, well, and then, things happen all the time. And it's just, it's yeah. Like, I think it's that kind of thing. Whatever level you're at, definitely things still happen. Maybe things happen less, I'm hoping.
They do.
But it does, stuff does always happen.
It was funny because we've realised that we have to format our card every time we record, right?
Yeah.
That was the big mistake we made. We got data on our card already, and for whatever reason, that affected it.
Do you not cut and paste?
We turn the pod track on, we record the podcast, we turn the pod track off, we load it onto Spotify for podcasters, job done.
I know you're saying with that specific file. Yeah, I don't cut it. I copy it
Yeah.
and then put it over just in case I mess it up.
I can I can see exactly what you mean, because that is a good. To be honest, I used to think, I swear before a couple of years ago, if you cut and paste, sometimes if something happens mid thing, it would delete it. I didn't cut and paste for years, but because of the amount of times we film now, and I have to if I film up for under a minute on there, under a minute, about 30 seconds is about a gig and a half, which is quite a lot of space. So I had to cut and paste because I have all the stories.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you can cut and paste, and if something happens, it just stops it. So you won't really particularly lose anything. I can see what you mean.
I might though.
Because there's nothing worse than losing it, and then
Those data spirits.
I'd be pretty
I come
cross
through.
as well if, like,
Can you imagine? I'll blame Jack. Like, Jack told me to cut it. I was going to copy it, mate.
But yeah, we don't edit ours at all, because I think one of the things that we were talking about before is we're 117 episodes into our podcast.
That's really good, by the way.
Thanks,
Very impressive.
man.
I was always really impressed when you first told me. That was sick.
And that we've only been able to achieve that really because we don't spend a lot of time working behind the scenes on the podcast. Like, we make videos, which we love doing, but we don't spend time like editing and fussing around with the audio, which we wouldn't have time to do, right? Jay's got a full-time business, many different hats that you're wearing.
Yeah.
And I've got like a demanding job and 2 kids, which Jay knows is twice as hard as having 1 kid.
I think it might be more than that.
3 times as
I
hard.
think so, yeah. Someone told me the other day, they said I had 1 kid. I thought, that's not too bad. I'm going to have another. And he goes, I felt like I had 10 more kids. But yeah, so it's hard. So even the videos we create as reels, they take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They take a long time to string other videos together. So there's only so much we can do. And in fact, my main business, when we first started podcasting, definitely took a hit because I was spending so much time on the podcast doing video editing. And so I had to wind it back. I was like, there's priorities here. And we're going to get busier again still soon, which is fine. Circular figure jiu-jitsu. His dad goes circular figure toaster jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, all of a sudden you've managed to start a jiu-jitsu empire, right?
I want the cult. I want this cult that everyone's got. People have got the pictures of the professors on the wall.
Yeah.
There's going to be a statue of me.
Like
I
on
have to bow to it at the beginning.
you could get one of those paintings like on Dodgeball where he's like holding the ball by the horns.
Yeah, it's a metaphor, but I really did that. Seen Dodgeball? Fuck. Oh,
Yeah.
we had a conversation off air about the movies Jack hasn't seen. We can make it into a
Whoa,
a segment.
There are a lot of movies that Jack has seen, because you're 28, right?
I am 28.
You've done a lot of stuff for being 28, because you were telling me before you used to be a fireman, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It was still my. I haven't. A lazy thing. It's obviously still my profile picture on Facebook. So it looks like I'm in the right catfish. And I'm like, that's not you. So, but, yeah.
He's in fancy dress.
Yeah. But yeah, I was retained for Northamptonshire Fire and Rescue.
Nice.
Still.
Not anymore. No.
Oh.
It was when basically at the time I just started my first business, and obviously I was working at my mum's nursery, down up the road, and I also retained. So it was I just couldn't seem to juggle it. But I've learned a lot from it, to be fair, and that gets again another good perspective of how things can happen. It just sounds really strange, but sometimes when accidents happen, and I find people don't think of the ramifications of it, but like things can go really. It's gone really dark now, isn't it? But it can go really dark. So it like, do you know what I mean?
I like that. Got any pictures?
I haven't got any pictures. No. I remember specifically was when I first joined the fire. Do you remember Perry? I can't remember the name of it. The hotel down the road. That you know the BP garage.
Yes.
You know the big hotel on the side. I remember it was a massive hotel. I remember I think it was near Christmas time. I remember that went alight. The whole place was alight. I remember that we were the first station down there. Literally after 10 minutes, I think after it happened. And not to like say, but there's a thing called Cobra. It's like a high impact hose. I'm probably getting the names wrong. You forget some of the names now, but basically it's a really powerful hose. You can take your arm off and stuff. And obviously we fired it into the actual establishment straight away, and that's why I didn't come down. And then obviously like 7 other pumps came down from me away and everywhere else. It was a huge job, whole hotel, and it really put things into perspective for me. And it was a massive job, and yeah, it was a good one, and it was quite scary because obviously like it's not like you can't be fucking about now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, 'cause it's not, you know, the thing you joke. So these people who are there and all really nice lads, we're always joking around and stuff. When like shit hits the fan and stuff, you've got to be switched on because like, you know, like thankfully no one was there. Obviously, normally people could die or property could go, and then and that was quite good in helping me with, because I've always been a bit like you know, you said about children, like I can better look after myself, but I've got better. But that was a really big like growing up thing for me, because I've always been a bit like needing support from. I'm very close to my parents, but my dad's very supportive of me. But that was the fire was a really good impact to making me more independent and being able to, because I can't be like trying to put out you're like an RTC or a house fire. I can't bring up Dad. Said, Dad, how do you work the hose again? I've forgotten. So that really had to like force me into kind of like, you need to switch on when you need to grow up a bit, because I mean stuff could go quite badly wrong. So yeah, I'll try and.
I think that's interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people these days, they have jobs where like the impact of like an underperformance at their work, it's kind of mostly limited to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you work in emergency services, if you're in the military, you know, the impacts of not doing your job well, you know, potentially catastrophic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, you do have to be dialed in, don't you? Like, I should imagine it takes a next level maturity to like kick in that moment, you know.
Yeah. I'm nothing. I was nothing compared to people like yourselves and like who I was. No, but literally, I'm like, I like I said I was a couple of years ago. Like I was just again, 1% a day. I try 1% a month or 1% a week, getting better at stuff. Because even then I was so much more switched on, but still nothing. You know, I look up to people like yourselves and who I was working with, being like, oh, I wish I was like that. Because still, I'm in that moment, and I may have improved a lot, but I'm still kind of like I feel like a child. It's really strange. Everyone's really harsh on themselves, but I'm really harsh on myself, and like I was trying to strive for perfection myself, and then even though I know I can't be perfection, I was be really harsh on myself. But yeah, trying.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because I was saying to someone the other day, I'm 36 years old, right? I've got 2 kids, got my own house. My car broke down. My first instinct is I should call my dad. You know, it's weird, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't.
You didn't.
Well, my dad's dead, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but
I was like, oh, sorry, dead dad. Can you help me out?
Would you call your mum?
She can't fucking drive.
So you are the grown up. So you don't. So what's your instinct when you have a drama? Do you call someone? Or
I've got to fix it.
You just fix it.
Yeah, I've got to fix it.
You just.
But I used to call my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found a dead body once when I was 17.
Did you?
The first thing I did was call my dad.
First thing you did was poke him with a stick.
Yeah, I was like, oh. I put my finger in his mouth.
You didn't.
Nah. Yeah. No, first thing I did, I knew he was dead.
This is the bad part of not editing the podcast. Like sometimes Jay says stuff and I'm like, I'm going to need to clarify for the people listening. Jay didn't actually do this.
I didn't do that. I didn't put his dick out for the emergency services. Yeah, so I called my dad. Like, Dad, I think I found a dead body.
Yeah.
And he goes, he called the ambulance.
And that's what I mean, right? Like even even when you think you're a grown up, you can sometimes you feel like you're deferring to like a higher level of grown up. It's like, oh, I'm a grown up, but I could do with someone that's got like more experience.
The thing is that losing a parent makes you question yourself. It gives you a bit of vulnerability, you know, because you realize that, you know, people, not that you see your parents as being invulnerable, but you do have a safety net in some way, right? To call people. So you don't have that anymore, which is why now it's just like, you just got to figure it out, right? Thank God my dad is now a ChatGPT. Easy.
Fair enough. I do definitely see what you mean.
Yeah.
Because I find like I'm like my dad says I do like my dad. I do stuff with my dad all the time. Even like after this, we've got. I said with the pop-ups, we do Vulcan works.
Yeah.
The stuff's all there. We haven't got a van yet. It takes 3 cars to do it. So my dad's going to help me after this. And I find, because my granddad and my mum's dad, she died when she was really young. So it's like, I find like if that was me, I'd be fucked. I know you would learn. I know
You do. You
learn.
just adapt. You just do stuff, right?
But I'm like, to put one, I'm a little bit too. I'm a little bit too much with reassurance from my dad. To be honest, I'm better than I was, but still, I like to.
You do it when you need to, mate. Because you do it now. You don't need to, right? Why do you need to get that level now? You can figure it out later on.
Mm-hmm.
So use it while it's there.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true.
Because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like your parents are supposed to be there. I hope Sienna, my daughter, calls at me still when she's. I mean, not for everything, of course. Like sort some shit out, but always try and rely on you in some way. That's always nice. Like you want your kids to call you, don't you? Now and then. Not for every.
I think
thing.
humans need to be needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to feel like like you're not a burden. You know, I think one of the worst things that can happen is people they never have any kind of contact, right? And you know, you get people that they just don't really, they sort of lose what their role is in the world.
Yeah.
You know, like your dad would probably hate it if you didn't call him, right?
Oh yeah, I know it would, yeah.
Because it's like he you know, you're still his son. You know, however old you get, he's still going to look at you that way. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you've kind of obsolete, right? So I think, yeah, I'd be really sad if the kids wouldn't call me as grown-ups.
No, in saying that, mate, you'll get this maybe eventually, Jack, if you have kids. But Sienna needs me less and less, and it's wonderful.
So if something big happened, you'd want her to call you, right?
Depends.
No?
I don't know. Depends. Depends
think
if
you
I can
would.
actually sort it out or not.
I've seen it. He talks a good game, but I've seen Jay when he's parenting, you know, and he's got his apron on, he's making dinner.
Yeah. Have you seen your parent that much, though?
Yeah.
Most times Sienna just disappears to her room. Doesn't she? She just comes home.
How
Disappears.
old's your daughter?
10.
She disappears to her room with strict iPad rules that you've put in place.
That exists.
I think it's like they say girls evolve, not like Pokemon.
They're mature.
They're mature.
They mature faster.
Mature cocks, and that is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think
That is true, yeah.
yeah.
Until they get older. And
You
then,
get boys together and they're carnage, right?
yeah, exactly.
Like
right.
whatever age set of boys you get together, like you get the lads together, things can get out of hand.
They can.
fast.
Though girls mature quicker than boys, definitely. Until they're older and they're a bit sensitive, aren't they? Just saying, right?
I'm not
Just saying.
No
all
comment.
right? I think
anything.
most people would agree. They can be a little bit more sensitive than guys. I'll say a little bit, maybe a lot. And we can't get away as much. Like, they won't like me saying this. So the other day at the gym, I pissed off all the women on Will's side.
Oh, wow.
So Will was giving shit to one of his members about pushing on one of the machines. And her friend said, Will, don't go near her. She's going to hurt you. I said, unless she's planning on hurting your feelings, Will. She ain't going to hurt you. And even then, that's unlikely, isn't it? Well, you've hurt there straight away.
You're a brave man, that is.
But it's right, though, isn't it? It's right.
Uncle Jay says it how it is.
I just say it's funny. Women are more sensitive. Jesus Christ. There's no.
I don't know. Guys can be pretty sensitive.
Oh, man, they can be, can't they?
God,
They can be well sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit too sensitive sometimes.
Yeah.
I think some people are like in the whole that phrase like you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. The amount of people who do rack all in being uncomfortable. So like I do anything like I like my friends and stuff. I'll try and get them to doing stuff, running or combat stuff. I remember one of my friends. I remember once we were at this party once, and it's when I just started boxing. Kind of for a while, you know, like you're practicing obviously with your mates, and like, go on, let's do some fights. And I remember he's a lovely geezer, but bit of with a massive hypochondriac. I remember I pretended to hook him. I touched him like this. I'm gonna touch your leg. Is that all right? I asked for permission. I did this. That how much? I didn't even feel it. Touched your nose. He's like, oh, I think it broke up my nose. I was like,
Really?
I was like, grow up. I haven't touched you.
That's amazing.
But a lot of my friends are like, and because they don't have anything.
Oh, I love that.
And then over like a year later, he's like, oh, can you teach us some boxing? I want to get better at boxing. So I did in my garden and stuff, and we're just doing a bit of like pads and sparring and stuff. Obviously, I was trying to let him hit me, and I was just tapping him to the body and stuff, and it's like I just shot him. You know what I mean?
Hang on, though. Hang on, Jack. I've seen one of your I've seen one of your body shots, mate. You remember this?
No.
So Ryan ran a session once, a bit different. And does it? I don't know. He's never done it again. Never done it since. But it was put on some boxing gloves, Jack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Andy
Did Ryan know that you box or not?
I don't think he did.
No.
No.
Oh, great.
And it was like, Andy, you got you got to take him down. You can't throw punches, just take down jiu-jitsu. He can punch, right? But I knew you were a boxer, so I went to
Jay got the popcorn out.
yeah. I can't remember who I was talking to. I was like, fucking watch this. Straight away, Jack faints to the top, and he's like, oh, and he goes crack. He's funny. It was like, oh, and you just saw the look on his face was completely changed. And you apologised.
I did apologise.
He's like, I'm sorry.
Well, it's
I was like, hit him again, Jack.
I think
It was amazing.
I was like, yeah, so you forget what people. I was used to sparring people who always block stuff. So I think when I
People that know what they're doing.
you throw stuff and you think, oh god, yeah.
Oh, so because you probably fainted up top.
That's gone straight through.
And he went like that, and he just went crack. And his face, you just saw the fear coming to it. It's like, oh, I got to take him down still. That was amazing. That was good, wasn't it?
That is a good drill. We don't. That's not one a lot of people do, right? We don't.
No,
do
it was really interesting. It was really fun. I had Martin.
Yeah, and Martin is strong as.
Oh,
hell,
he's
isn't
so strong, isn't he? I had Martin. I was like, oh, fuck this.
The man's built like a sirloin steak. Isn't he? Have you seen him? He's massive.
I might
He's
go,
in
I might go
such good
fillet.
shape.
Mate. He's in fillet steak, mate. He's that 40-year aged.
Yeah, how-
Sorry, 50-year
gonna say
aged
50.
fillet
There's
steak.
not any fat on him, is there?
No, he's in. Yeah, I don't.
You know when you say about guys not being sensitive, I had a little cry when I saw him walking around with no shirt on.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, what's
insane.
wrong with me?
He makes me look like a fucking pork scratching.
And you're in good shape, Jack.
He's
You're in good shape. Martin's just an Adonis. I mean, not the legs, but the rest of him is amazing.
I don't think you're in any position to start giving people shit about their legs, Jay.
Look at that Vastus there, mate.
Yeah,
not on
but
this side.
Not
this
on
one's
this side. So one thing you'll notice about Jay is he always flexes one side.
this side. So if we do a flex and no gi, this leg's
Stealth
forward.
flex.
Yeah,
this
this leg's
one.
always forward because my
This one's
Vastus
hidden at
does
the
not.
back.
This is fucked up. This leg.
This is the old, peg leg.
Yeah, this is the peg leg. Yeah,
Is it actually? Is it smaller?
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Is it weak? Is that take us a lot weaker?
Yes,
Do you train legs?
yes. Hey,
Jay's
wind your neck and Jack.
Jay's a personal trainer, okay, who trains legs.
Oh, I train legs. But yeah,
Once a month.
But I've got exactly. I need more than that. But yeah, so my leg on this side has had so many injuries. I've got no cartilage in this knee
Oh,
anymore. It's gone. I was born with it, and it's gone. But then I've had my MCL tear, my kneecap popped out. Then from all the running and I think all the loaded marches, probably from the army, just wore away all my cartilage behind my left knee. So it's just bone on bone. No, it doesn't give me too much problem though. I can't feel it too much.
yeah.
Now and then I do. Like, hiking's a bit hard now, coming down hills. That's quite rough. This
And
knee,
he has to walk in circles.
Yeah.
Because the
It's
other
like
leg is so
yeah,
strong.
yeah. So this leg's okay. This leg's not as good. So this will need surgery eventually.
Yeah.
And this one has a few tears here and there.
That is the
LCL,
one bad
PS,
thing about
PCL.
jiu-jitsu. It's going to wear your legs out a bit as well.
Yeah. So jiu-jitsu is bad for you on the body, but it's also good for you.
Yeah, I think you hear a lot about lower back problems and knee problems, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And it's common, right? You get that in jiu-jitsu, but it's fine because Andy had a good point at this. Andy's mid-40s now, and he trains a lot of jiu-jitsu. He's been very consistent since he started in 2018. Hasn't really had a break. But
Just
he worked
bad ribs.
just but just yeah.
He's a punctured lung.
He trained for jiu-jitsu, long time, no injuries, except the one time that you punched
Met
him
a
in the
striker.
ribs.
So yeah, he said he works with people in his office, same age, but they've got bad backs, they got bad knees, bad shoulders, bad necks from nothing. Right? It's just
That's
from,
sorry, Karen. I was
it's
about to
just
say
from
that.
just from aging. So at least we've earned the right to have these injuries. They serve a purpose. Like, why am I hurt? I've got a story for all of my injuries. Whereas if you say to someone, I've got a bad back because I sit down all day, it's like, fuck off. You need to do more. You don't have the right to be injured through sitting down. How many people pull their back or hurt their neck in their sleep?
Yeah.
How'd you do that? How you sleeping and hurt your neck? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I find it is true. Because I like, yeah, well, I know this is random, but like, went to cinema last night with my dad. It's all Mission Impossible. And I was seeing
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Man's in banging shape. And I said to my dad, he's the same age. And I said, my dad was the same age. And I was like, and that's fucking why I'm telling you to go to Jiu Jitsu. Because the man's like, he loves that shot where he's just woof, 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 power blasting. But like, being 60 odd and being that in shape, it's not like, it shouldn't be like, oh, that's amazing. That should be like, everyone should have a function. So it's not a good thing that people in the 60s can't do that. I appreciate 60s is quite, but like the 40s, 50s, 60s, you should still be able to run or be able to. If someone's trying to rob you and stuff, I don't mean you should give them like a crisp 1-2 in the face, but I'm saying you should be able to do something.
Something, even if it's to run away.
Yeah, run away.
Even if it's Tom Cruise it.
Yeah,
running away.
Being able to run a 5K could really save your life.
100%, mate.
If you need to get away.
Yeah, just
5K is enough.
I was going to say definitely. No one's chasing you more than 5K.
Nah,
you know what I
they're
mean?
not.
We saw that in Rock and Roller.
Yeah.
He ran out. You seen Rock and Roller? Guy Ritchie movie. It's not as good. This movie. We'll let you get away with that one. He runs away from the Russian mafia, doesn't he? And the guy's too jacked. He can't follow him.
Yeah, that is funny when that
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
So there you go. You run away from the Russians.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just in case you thought you couldn't.
So, Jack, do you still do the boxing and stuff now, or you don't do it as much?
So now I do.
I don't know how you have time, because you do the boxing, jiu-jitsu, you do the salsa, and all of this business stuff, right?
I do Mandarin as well.
Mandarin.
I do Mandarin. Yeah, I always wanted to learn a language. It sounds like I'm trying to flex in it. It's not. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm doing.
Pretty good. Flex,
No, I always wanted to learn a language. So, and then I started doing that. I have a session every Friday. And then
so why Mandarin?
I wanted to learn an Asian language. I don't know. I just wanted to. I tell you what it sounds like. I saw a film, and it's actually there's guys in this. It's a zombie film, and there's this guy. It's obviously he's American. They're all American, and so there's a girl there who was attractive. And I spoke.
That's what gets you, isn't it?
And-
So nobody reels you in.
That all got me. And then also he was chatting to her in I think that was French, to be honest, and the rest of it I didn't have a clue.
And you're like, fuck, I'll do Mandarin.
On that drive back, I downloaded Rosetta Stone and some of the Mandarin apps, and I started that night.
No way.
Well, and then that was 4.5 years ago.
I'm not fully understanding why you chose Mandarin, not French.
I think it's because
Sounds like you might have a thing for French ladies.
no, apparently so. But yeah, I think it's just I chose Mandarin. I think because it's quite tricky.
Yeah.
I find like the listening just really difficult. I'm quite good at reading characters.
Yeah.
I'm doing HSK level 4. So yeah, it's good to be fair.
That's an awesome language to have. Like Mandarin is, when they're recommending people learn business languages, Mandarin's pretty high up there now.
Yeah, because there's so many of them.
Well, it's because China's effectively going to be the next sort of superpower, isn't it?
I thought it was just there's so many Chinese people.
Well,
I'm just saying, there's so many of them.
China is
Better
on
all speak,
track
Brent.
to surpass the US in terms of like importance, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the population is huge. The economy is growing so fast that's why I think. But the problem, my understanding is that's why Mandarin is a really good language to have for business.
Damn, I wouldn't have known.
There's lots of if you're trying to sell a product, being able to sell it to China is,
There's
a
your
good
new
opportunity.
answer, right? For when everyone asks you why you learnt Mandarin, not because of a French bird, it's because of the economy.
There you go. Yeah, that's it really. I sort of good to learn new stuff. I do find now that because on the weekend I do a lot of live streaming, and sometimes I love music and stuff as well. So it's like if I'm not working, sometimes I find myself a bit of a loose end.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. It's a hard one. You kind of you put a lot of effort into into your graft and what you believe in, but then unfortunately some other stuff do go to the wayside a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I've got like friends. I find like, not to get away, I've got like quite a lot of friends. Like I don't engage, and we chat. But I haven't got many mates.
Yeah.
I only got like four. I'll say about four like close mates. So when they're busy, I'm like, this weekend I exercised 8 times.
Oh wow.
I did like 2 like 7K runs. Went to the gym, did boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Cause I'm like, I'm bored.
You get restless and you need something.
And I can only just because I'm like my friends are busy. I'm like, what else do I bloody do? And I did work the whole time, enjoying the sun. It's that kind of it's a happy medium which I can't seem to fully get. Do you know what I mean?
To completely just wind down.
Yeah.
But neurodiversities, we spoke about this briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing though for you? Do you think that has a big impact on why you can't settle down?
So
The way your mind is wired,
yeah.
you specifically.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that has a big impact on how you can't settle down, right?
Yeah, that is true. I find literally that's why you get some people who like don't do anything. And I can't like not.
What's not doing anything? What, sitting at home playing a video game?
Yeah, I can do stuff, but I find if I play Xbox on Saturday, but obviously I definitely need to go to the gym. And I need to probably go for a run. Need to do some work. I feel like I can't do certain things like certain leisure stuff before I don't do my staples and things.
Yeah.
And I find I can't really not. I couldn't not. Even when literally what was it, 2018, I was ill. I think with Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a form of cancer.
Oh,
I know, my wife had it.
Oh, sorry, did she?
Interesting.
Yeah, and even then, because I had a massive. I see stuff when I was at uni. Like, I feel like I'm ready to grow into myself. Because when I was at uni and stuff, I was hideous. Also with a massive fucking lump in my neck.
So, how old were you when this happened?
I was first year of uni.
Okay, so what, 18?
18, yeah. Organic. I know I'm jumping, but organically, I'm dyslexic. But yeah, I think in that time frame, I've definitely since I got older, I've got some sort of ADHD and very strange.
I would agree.
Pardon? Bastard. Yeah. But it's even then, literally, I was 18 and stuff, and I did this lump and stuff, and it wasn't until I remember they had an operation to remove it just because it looked awful. My appointment got cancelled, like got pushed back a year, kept getting cancelled. Yeah, I remember they did loads of tests, and it's like, yeah, it's not cancer, it's not cancer. I was like, sound. And it wasn't until I got it, like, had it out, and they could actually like test it. Told me it was. So yeah, and it was. I got it out and stuff, and I had like. My friend used to say like Frankenstein. You know how our friends like they try to joke with you. And we used to go. You know Atlas Gym.
Yeah.
The Gearhead Gym.
I like the way you added like a
flex. It really flares up as well.
It does. And the not bad. I hope you got that on camera.
I did do that. That's my new screensaver now. Fuck the fireman one. Not the bolt. And then I was going to at the bar. I had 2 like bolts on my neck, and it like it was a really fleshy. It was really strange. But then yeah, I thought it was all fine. Then it wasn't until like about. A week later after my operation, they kept calling me in. You know, normally the doctors and stuff like she's late for an appointment. They're like, she's like 2 seconds later, they're like, "Fuck off, you lost it." And when I was like already like an hour and a bit later, they kept ringing me up, being like, "And they make sure you come down."
We need to chat to you.
I still didn't think anything of it. It wasn't until I found out. So I was going through like with my chemotherapy and stuff. But in that time frame when I was ill, I was like I sort of going gym, went on holiday, went on to a festival. I said loads of just go out with my friends and stuff. I wouldn't go out. My rule with my parents wouldn't let me go out because I used to go green quite a lot.
What's green?
I went green.
As in you physically would look green?
Physically green. The chemotherapy with the green.
Hang on.
Oh my God.
They inject you with gamma radiation.
And apparently so I was fucking Bruce
Became
Banner.
the Hulk.
Yeah. And yeah, I didn't shave my hair off, but it's always falling out. And yeah, I remember I woke up in the morning and just pillows just full of hairs and stuff. I'll be go, but yeah. So if I wouldn't go out if my hair was green, if I looked green, and then like when I went to Amsterdam with my friends, and like my dad had to go because obviously like you get like insurance for, what do you call it?
Travel insurance.
Travel insurance. Yeah. I wouldn't because it might be thousands.
Yeah.
So I remember one time my dad was like, "We're not." I was like, "Fuck paying that." So we went on. It was only EasyJet, and we sat like I sat in my dad chose the front 2 corner seats, and when the whole time I sat there, I had like hand gel in my hands. Well, I was because you know you can get ill on hospital,
Yeah.
So I was constantly having my hand and like breathing it in to make sure I was always getting in clean air and stuff. To make sure I didn't want to get ill. My dad was like, if you get anything, because like I'm sure you, like any kind of thing, anything you get anything at all in life, like it comes on really quick. And when anything happens, we're going straight home. Did all that, went to a festival because I had a pick line. Because I still have a little scar on my there's a little scar here around my pick line and stuff. I went to the festival, I had to get that removed because it's quite effective.
Because it's an open thing.
Yeah, open thing. So I kind of had to make sure that I had to get that removed and stuff. Because all the doctors and stuff gave my mum loads of shit because like that for letting me go. But then even then I was still doing loads of stuff. So I can't like not do anything.
So do you think that shaped the way that because obviously you're keeping yourself really, really busy. Do you think kind of having that illness when you were younger has kind of affected that mindset, or you think that's just the way that you are naturally?
I think it's just the way that I am. I think sometimes it's also like, I think maybe it probably taught me as well, like, like scarcity is quite like a big factor with people in trying new things or new ventures or anything. And it kind of has put things in perspective for me now. I just fucking crack on. Do you know what I mean? It's like what things can happen so easily. If you're an opportunity to do something, just give something a go. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, because even when we started doing the podcast, like there's a slight apprehension about doing it, right? You know, like speaking on microphone, putting it out and feeling like people might judge what you say. You know, it takes a bit of like guts to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think, you know, there are a lot of people that just wouldn't, right?
No, it's easy not to, isn't it?
It's definitely easier just to avoid stuff, isn't it?
It's easier not to, but it's not as fun.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that sort of character, though, are you?
What?
You're like a
I'll just go.
jump
You know
in
how
with
you
both
said you
feet
got
thing.
an idea in your head? Then it's just go. The ideas in your head, just go and do it. Otherwise, you convince yourself not to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, I want it now. Like,
Yeah, like I said, I do something, I want it straight away.
get the idea. It's like, I want it right now.
Yeah, you two are quite similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, just, this wouldn't have happened if Jack didn't have this attitude
Yeah,
of
that's
let's just
true.
do it, right? Whereas I'm like, fuck the consequences. What's the worst that can happen? We'll lose a bit of money and time.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
And, I was talking to you like about last week. I don't really understand money.
You don't understand money.
Yeah, I don't understand the world economy.
Oh yeah, you were saying you don't understand economy. Yeah.
When everyone says, "Oh, the world's in debt," I'm like, well, how? To who?
I do know what you mean. I think it's like sometimes, like they say, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
There is a big factor, to be fair. I hear people all the time that say, "Oh, this is gonna happen. It's gonna happen." I'm like, oh.
Yeah, loads can happen, man. Loads can go wrong, but it might not.
Yeah.
Right? And let's assume it won't.
Yeah.
That's your pep talk from Uncle Jay.
There you go.
Loads could happen, but it might not. So get after it.
Yeah,
so
what?
get after it.
But you
Circle
could,
of vigor.
Just come on. Vigorosity, as you said, right? Live life for vigorosity.
Yeah, how's this for a tagline? If you want a little more vigorosity, call Jay. Circle of Vigor Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
Boom.
Easy, right?
You
Sold.
like that or not?
But I like it. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's good, but I wouldn't say it's taken off.
It hasn't taken off.
No one's calling me, to say,
need some
can you do
vigorosity, please, mate."
taglines, please?
Oh,
No
one's called me for vigorosity. But yeah, you got to do these things, right? Like the new gym, it's a big risk, and not that I'm not nervous about it, but I know I want to do it, so just do it.
Yeah.
You put the money in, you do the stuff, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think even the PT, when I decided to just quit my main job, just focus on PT, I quit it, no money, because I had to do it. I thought, well, if I got this main job is my distraction, even though it's bringing in an income, fuck it. I have to create an income now doing this.
Yeah.
So you just do it. Just if you got an idea, why not? You might fail. That's fine. But just keep going. I think if you believe in it, you can probably make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's no plan B, you have to make it work, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, like I speak to people and they say, oh yeah, I sort of started this business doing this, that and the other, but they haven't really like thrown themselves like fully into it. Right. And I think I'm very aware that I can be one of those people that kind of like sees the danger in things, like maybe a little too strongly. You're someone that just like throws yourself in.
It's probably a good balance, right? Because you're very risk averse and I'm the absolute opposite.
Yeah. If something on the rare occasions, because obviously I said that we don't edit the podcast and that's true, but there are rare occasions where we've had to take something out because I'm like, okay, this is like a little too much.
Yeah, there's things, and also with
we got a phone call once we had to take something out. A phone call from a friend that we'd offended. We didn't mean to.
Yeah, it really didn't mean
And
to.
when I say we offended, obviously I didn't offend them. Jay offended them.
I said
So
some.
these are the risks. Don't say what you said again.
I'm not going to say what I said. I'm just saying some people don't like truths, do they? Some people don't like the facts, but not all facts are meant to be aired, are they?
Mhm.
You know,
People still need a little bit of privacy, don't they?
like yeah, exactly. But I don't really
You're
care.
a pet everything online.
I don't
guy.
care, man. Like I wipe my ass. Sometimes my finger goes through into my asshole, and I smell my finger. Right? We've all done it.
Why
What?
would you bring that up now?
I'm just saying, it's facts which people don't normally share. Right? Shall I tell him my
Just a little more filter would be good.
So shall I tell him about my joke? You know that reverse exorcism joke.
No.
Okay, see you off air.
You do it just to annoy me, right?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The thing is, I'm always like with the podcast, I'm always aware that like anybody can listen to it, right? Like the reality is, I'm not naive enough to think loads of people and everybody's going to listen to the podcast. Most people aren't. There's especially not most people going to get like an hour and 12 minutes into a podcast. But I'm always a bit aware that what are people going to think when James starts telling these jokes on the podcast?
Well,
I mean, Jack, you are completely self-employed, right? Yeah, or own a business. That's it. You're director. You don't report to anyone, do you?
no.
There you go. Like, you don't really have any consequences.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right,
No, I
so,
don't have any consequences, no. But
so we can do what we want, kind of.
you can. Yeah, you
Say
can.
what we want.
You can.
We
yeah.
might offend some people. People might not want to work with us. I don't want them either.
And at the end of the day, I was going to say you can't please everyone, and you don't have to please everyone.
And that's what I think. I think if you try and please everyone, you definitely please much less people, right?
Yeah.
So if you stay to what you do.
I think the beauty of podcasting is the authenticity, right? You can't fake it because you just can't maintain it for long enough.
I was going to say people try and keep an exterior, and I will say, like, for example, like you can't really be faking a podcast. You maybe fake for like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
but then you get like an hour and a bit in, and you're like you start. You can't really do it. That's why it's quite nice because with content, short form content, you can be fake. That's why like there's no point going into it trying to talk all not like all different because when you meet in real life or the podcast, you're like, well, you guys that's not what you like. So that's why it really brings your true, and that's how people can really resonate with people when you actually when you like and trust people, and that happens when you do, and you can actually kind of like understand how they work, that they're funny, they're nice guys, okay, but that's how it kind of works really.
How, when because you've got a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Is that just yourself or do you have like
myself and my colleague, and then we get other businesses, entrepreneurs and business owners on it, and we just chat about business, about their journey.
So typically 3 of you, or does sometimes you do
it's
it just with
3.
him?
It used to be, I used to film and just have my colleague Hugo and the person. Now because of here, we try and just get always the brand showing the faces. It's always us two.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm always impressed when people can do it on their own. Like I can't imagine doing a podcast like
Holding not even a conversation, but keeping, I don't know, what's it?
that's just, I would
keeping
be terrible
constant
at
at
this.
saying something.
You know, when you see people and they're like, oh yeah, this is my podcast and it's me talking for like half an hour.
But
I'd be
someone
like,
said that to me,
this
I'll
would
be
be
like,
impossible for me.
I'm never listening to that. I think you need a relationship, don't you? You think
Yeah.
you need this to bounce off. Like I can't talk just by myself. It's ridiculous. I need someone to bounce off. That's why I think I work really well with Chris because we align on many things, but we just have different approaches to get there. And I think that's what works really nicely because we really do agree with the same thing, but we just have our own way.
We've got the same principles, but we're like very
the methods
different
are
people,
different,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great and it works nicely. There's definitely like a chalk and cheese element of it, but because we are close and because we do align, it works nicely. There's definitely a nice like a relationship with that where we can bounce off each other. I'm just trying to get him sacked from his job, really.
That's the goal.
But I've never told on purpose where he works.
So moving swiftly on. So Hugo, then, did you know Hugo well before you started the podcast?
So I went to school with Hugo.
Oh,
we
nice.
never actually spoke at school. It wasn't until literally we first got in contact really, literally about a year ago.
No way.
Got in contact. And we went to uni together, but we went to college together. and school, we never spoke ever. It wasn't until literally he messaged me saying, "Oh, I want to do a podcast." So I do, because collaboration is key. So I messaged him saying, we both messaged each other actually, being like, "Do you want to do some content together?" Started off with Graphcast led into doing content together into the pod, then this, and then we've got another business called Graph Media as well. So it's it all led into everything else. You know what I mean?
So you go train jiu-jitsu?
He doesn't. I tried to get him.
Yeah.
He's going to come to the Thursday class, but he's a rugby player.
Oh, nice,
Perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, and then now he hasn't been able to. But you know what I mean? We're always.
I think rugby players are the best at jiu-jitsu. I think it's a great sport.
It is, it's
All
awesome.
dancers we hear, right? We
Dancers
hear
are very
dancers
good
are
at
really
jiu-jitsu.
good, and we hear rugby folks, right?
Yeah.
In America, they don't have rugby, do they? But dancers and wrestlers.
Well, yeah, obviously wrestlers, but I kind of see wrestlers as
Still quite niche, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, no, but it's from one
Sort of
combat
the
sport to
same.
another,
It's
isn't
kind
it?
of the same thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's true.
But like, I think the thing is with rugby is there is a rough and tumble. There is a one of the things that I did learn from rugby is to, you know, you're learning to sort of deal with that aggression.
Yeah.
Like people are very aggressive in the way that they play rugby, and they're aggressive on the pitch, and being able to handle that aggression is really important in any combat sport, right? Because otherwise you do clam up a bit. So I do think rugby players, you know, that's a good background to have for jiu-jitsu, and obviously the cardio element, right? So yeah, you should try and get them along.
Try to.
Yeah, then he can be a legit business partner, can't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
been
great.
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I,
thank you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate it. But thank you.
That's been great, man.
I've not been on this kind of podcast ever before. Evan's very businessy, so.
Oh, really?
Different.
It's an unprofessional
Different.
podcast.
I think you crushed it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you've got to talk about you, man. We've got to learn so much about you.
Oh, well, I appreciate you.
How cool is that?
People I don't really ask these kind of questions, so I appreciate it.
All right, good. All right, good.
So check us out on social media, Better Than Average Pod, the Pod Collective.
Yeah.
And definitely 100% if you've been listening, give us a 5-star review, because we love 5-star reviews.
Who doesn't?
Whether you
Yeah.
liked it or not, 5-star review, please.
Yeah, even if you don't like it, give us a 5-star review.
If you don't like it and you give us anything below, Jack is going to hit you in the belly.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right, over and out.
All right. Cheers, boys.
Bing.